Sparkly salutations! After thinking about how I would have changed the Black Widow and Harry Potter collections that have come out recently and making videos about them that you can go watch if you haven't seen those already, I started brainstorming other themes that would be fun to have makeup collections about, and then I started thinking about products that could be made for those themes, and now here I am with a video talking about an imaginary makeup collection themed around Disneyland. And I'm kind of sad that this doesn't actually exist, but there's no way that I can really make it happen, so this is as good as it gets. And I thought that now that, you know, the parks aren't exactly safe and they shouldn't be open, Disney World, what are you doing? This would be a fun way to bring the magic of the parks home where I can continue to avoid human contact and be safe. And even after this whole thing is contained, it would still be fun to have these products as a reminder of the fun memories that I had at Disneyland. So I hope you guys will also enjoy this because I know I had a lot of fun putting this together. The first product idea when I started thinking about Disneyland makeup was a Dole Whip lip gloss. So it would be pretty sheer with gold sparkles throughout it, and it would smell like pineapple, and I thought it would be cool if it could also somehow have like a cooling sensation to it so that it would feel a little bit like eating a Dole Whip on a hot day in Disneyland. And the second gloss idea I had would be scented like churros, and it would be kind of a cinnamon sugary brown and have silver sparkles to look like the sugar on the outside of a churro. And the third gloss idea I had would be a pink that I would call fireworks, and it would have multicolored sparkles all throughout the whole thing. And I thought for that one scent, it could be scented the same way that Main Street is, just like baked goods and yumminess. So a gloss might not be the best thing to be wearing if you're going to be riding attractions and having your hair flung around your face. So I thought I would also design some Fast Pass liquid lipsticks. Now, I know that collectively we all realized that, wow, matte liquid lipsticks are kind of uncomfortable, but hear me out. So I would want this imaginary product to be kind of like the Lancome L'Absolu lacquers, if I'm saying that correctly. I'm not French. Because they are kind of like a hybrid lip gloss lip stain kind of thing. Sephora's website says they combine the comfort and shine of a gloss, the pigment of a lipstick, and the lasting power of a stain, and that's basically what my goal would be for this too. And I call it Fast Pass because you put it on and then it would stain quickly, and then you could blot it off if you didn't want the gloss, and it would make your day a lot simpler because you'd have one less thing to be worrying about and planning for. For shades of this magical lipstick, I decided to give one shade to each land within the park. So Main Street USA would be brick red to match the brick walkways in some of the buildings. Fantasyland would be a nice pink to match the newly refurbished castle. Toontown would be a bright cartoony true red. Tomorrowland could be a futuristic cyber purple. And for Adventureland, I had two ideas. So the one I stuck with is a rich brownish color that's reminiscent of tree bark, because I would personally enjoy a nice like jungly green, but I feel like most people would not share my enthusiasm for that. So brown would be a bit more reasonable. For Frontierland, I thought of a terracotta orangey brown kind of color to fit the Western desert theme. And New Orleans Square, I gave a purpley berry color because Mardi Gras does have purple as one of its three colors, but that vibrant purple might be kind of off-putting, so I made it a bit less intimidating to wear. And Critter Country, I gave a greigey brown, sort of like the color of a squirrel, because, okay, I know this is the third brown I'm using, but Critter Country doesn't really give me much to work with, and honestly it might have been more fitting to just leave it out entirely, because that's what Disneyland seems to want to do. And the last land is Galaxy's Edge, which I thought could have just a nice true black to represent the color that Siths wear. Moving on from lip products, another thing that popped into my brain pretty early on in this process is a Pirates of the Caribbean highlighter. So it would be a highlighter that's gold, naturally, and it would be housed in a compact that looks like the Pirates of the Caribbean medallion, because that would just be so cool. And I don't know if it would have the little like chain, because why would you wear a highlighter as a necklace, but I don't know. I could work that out later with whatever company would be making this, which is none, but it's fine. So something else that I thought of for this, and I know this is going to sound weird, but I would want it to smell like the Pirates of the Caribbean ride does, which, you know, it's that like chemically smell of water and artificial fog and smoke and gunpowder and like whatever it is that happens in there. People have made like candles of this fragrance, so I know it's a thing that other people enjoy too, so I think it'd be fun to have that as the scent of the highlighter. But I would also want there to be an unscented version because I know a lot of people really just hate it when brands throw fragrances into things, and I get it because you only smell it when you're like opening the product in front of you, and sometimes it irritates people's skin, and sometimes it gives people a headache, and like, I get it, I'm sorry. I happen to really enjoy scented things as long as the scent is nice. Like the Revlon lip glosses smell really bad, but a lot of other products smell nice to me, and it just brings a little bit of extra happiness. So, a scented Pirates of the Caribbean highlighter. One more thing before I talk about the palette that I designed, and that would be the It's a Small World compact mirror, because small, compact, I think it's funny. So it would be a palm-sized clasping compact style mirror with one side being normal and the other side being magnified. And on the outside of it, it would of course have a picture of the Small World castle on it. And it would just be a really handy thing to have with you in the park to make sure that after you get splashed in the face on some ride that your mascara isn't all over the place. And on a kind of related note, so Splash Mountain is getting rethemed, and I don't know what they're going to call it once it's all done, but I'm hoping for either Princess and the Log or just Frog Mountain. The eyeshadow palette that I designed is called Disneyland Diary, and the idea is that it's kind of like a journal that you wrote in after you got back from the park. So all of the shades are named after things you may have done, and the pans are rectangular so that there could be little camera outlines around them, as if you had taken a picture of doing all these fun things. And the mirror has little Mickey ears above it, because ears are a very important part of the unofficial park-goer uniform. And I'm not an artist, so don't judge my badly made sketch of this. This is just a rough idea of kind of what it would look like. And I didn't even attempt the outer packaging because, no, I'm not the kind of person who went designing that. There are 12 shades in this fictional palette, arranged in approximately the layout that they would be on a map of Disneyland. Now, I know the park is a lot more complicated than a 3x4 rectangle, so they're obviously not going to be exactly where you would find them in relation to each other, but kinda, I don't know, I tried. So the first shade is I Saw an Elephant Fly, which is the color of Dumbo's cute little hat. Then there's I Spun in a Teacup, which is the pastel purple similar to the color of the purple teacup in the ride. There's I Saw a Yeti, which is an icy duochrome blue named for the Matterhorn's hairiest resident. I Met a Princess is a cutesy princess pink. I Flew Over Neverland is a foresty emerald green, like the plant life and crocodile that you soar above during Peter Pan's flight. I Went to Space is a silvery brownish color meant to capture the feel of both Space Mountain and Galaxy's Edge. For placement purposes, and because I kind of forgot that Galaxy's Edge even opened before I started making these ideas, I'm going with Space Mountain as its main inspiration. On the bottom half of the palette, the first shade is I Sat by a Ghost, with the color being a spooky white and green duochrome that looks a lot like the Haunted Mansion ghosts do. Moving along to the right, you'll see the shade I Made It Through the Mines, and because I'm very creative, I made the shade that I named after a gold mine a gold. Then we have I Ate A Pretzel, which is a brown shade approximately the same color as the Mickey pretzels you can find at stands throughout the park. The very last row starts with I Dodged a Boulder, which is an earthy brown color that I named for Indiana Jones. That red shade is called I Rode a Train, and of course it's meant to look like the red of the Disneyland Railroad. The very last shade is called I Had a Magical Time, and it's the color of a clear sky, which is usually what you'll find in Disneyland. I realize that the shadows that I've chosen as the ones for this palette are almost exclusively shimmers, and that's not ideal for a balanced palette in most people's eyes. But I was mostly focused on getting the colors right, and I wasn't really paying attention to what the finish of the shadow was, because honestly, I don't know which of them should be mattes, because I don't really care. And I have no experience with designing or creating makeup besides stuff like this, where I'm just having fun, throwing out ideas, and arranging my palette based on what the shadows are called and where their namesakes are physically. So I'm clearly not a professional at this, I'm just having a good time, and hopefully you are too. So that was all of the actual ideas that I had for the Disneyland makeup collection, but I also thought of some reject and joke ideas throughout this process and thought it would be kind of fun to go over those too, just because they made me laugh, so maybe they'll make you laugh too. So my husband was very excited and told me that I should make one of the lip glosses turkey leg scented. But my immediate thought was, okay, a lip gloss texture and the smell of turkey, that's turkey grease, that's gross, and no. So my counter idea was to instead put that turkey scent into a lip balm and have SPF in that, so that maybe my husband who hates chapstick would be more willing to put it on because he loves the turkey legs, so maybe. Another idea that should absolutely never happen is to make the Small World compact play the song every time you open it, because it would be funny for like 30 seconds, but then everyone around you would just hate you. Another idea is to have a makeup brush that on one end is just a regular old brush, but then the other end of it would shoot bubbles out, like those things that kids love to just like put their finger on the trigger and just constantly shoot bubbles into your face when you're behind their stroller. Does that happen to anyone else, or is that a thing that just I keep noticing happening? Anyway, so, you know, bubble wand makeup brush, kind of fun. Along the same lines, having a setting spray that comes in one of those bottles that like has a motorized fan on it so that you can spray water on yourself and feel less hot during the day. But with a setting spray, it would help the spray dry down. So it's kind of practical, actually. It's just very goofy, so probably isn't gonna happen. And the last thing is some shade names that didn't quite make it into the palette. That would be, I got blocked by endless strollers, I made my Fitbit proud, and I hugged a guy in a fursuit. So they're all decently likely to happen during a trip to Disneyland, but they didn't quite fit the magical vibe I was going for, so they got left out. So that's what I came up with for Disneyland-themed makeup products. I really hope this was enjoyable for you guys to watch because I had a lot of fun putting it together and brainstorming different ideas of products that could exist if I ever had the power to create them. So if you guys have ideas of your own, whether they're serious or more along the lines of the turkey lip gloss, please comment with them because I'd really love to hear about it. I think it's really fun to use a theme like this and just create products based on it, so this might become like a series on this channel, I don't know. So I also thought I would add a new little like end segment to my videos where I talk about the nails of the week. So right now on my right hand I have Holo Taco's Magenta Jelly, and then on the other hand it is Purple Slushy, and I also have a little red Mickey head painted in some Sally Hansen red color, I don't remember. It's pretty hard to see, but it's there. Maybe I'll insert a picture where you can see it more clearly. So anyway, thank you for watching, please stay safe, and don't risk your health to go to a theme park. So as soon as I sat down to start recording this video, this little stray cat that we have in our house right now just came over and plopped down by my feet. So this should be interesting. We interrupt your Disneyland makeup video with this very important message that there's an adorable cat sleeping under my desk. Excuse me, that is the chair that I was using. Kitty. I got up for like 30 seconds to go open the door and check on her since she was meowing outside the door, and then she comes in and steals my chair. How rude.